Hi everyone, and it's great to be here. I'm going to just give a very brief introduction today to CKAN and give an overview of the applicability of CKAN to Earth observation data, and a brief overview of why CKAN is a great choice for building data hubs in general and an Earth observation data hub in particular. So, first of all, introducing CKAN. So CKAN started off in 2007 at the Open Knowledge Foundation. The Open Knowledge Foundation is a non-profit that is dedicated to seeing fair and equitable societies through equal access to knowledge and data. And CKAN was really designed along this mission, as at the same time, governments around the world were starting to release data publicly via open licenses as part of various government transparency initiatives. And the growth of CKAN really came from those early use cases around public release of data by governments with open licenses. And those early stages of CKAN, the major use cases that were supported are around data publication and data access. Now, of course, CKAN is nowadays a much more powerful data management system that has a bunch of features around raw publication and access. But that's the core functionality and the heart of what CKAN offers. So what does that mean, data publication, data access? CKAN has a metadata-driven catalog, is a metadata-driven catalog. So metadata is really important for data management. Metadata is really what makes data management work. That's the information about each data set, ranging from the name of the data set through to the timestamp, possibly of the last time it was modified, through to information on the quality of the data perhaps inside, or provenance information, what type of transformations may have happened to the data before it hit the catalog, and so on, through to other types of information like taxonomic information or semantic markup for a data set. So being a metadata-driven catalog, CKAN can actually store the data as well, but it can also just store metadata for data that's hosted on other platforms around the web. And this metadata creates rich features for exploration and discovery of the data. So all of the features that CKAN offers are based on this core spine of a metadata catalog. The user interface and the API offer rich features for filtering data, for free text search over the metadata fields, and other methods for filtering and accessing data so that new data sets within the catalog can be discovered. Also, CKAN offers really rich APIs that enable web developers to build applications on top of the data that's within a data catalog. Those APIs can also be used for importing data into the catalog and for doing other types of transformations of data that sits in a given catalog. CKAN also offers some rich tooling around data licensing, access controls around data that's in a catalog, and authentication of users and permissions for users. Given that CKAN's been a solution in this space of public data release for a good 10 years, wherever you see a data platform online, there's a very good chance that CKAN is behind that data. The largest governments in the world run CKAN for public data, from the US to Australia, the UK, and many more. Additionally, many organizations, corporations, nonprofits use CKAN internally as a data management system. There are actually thousands and thousands of instances of CKAN in production, and all supporting these core use cases around publication and access, and additional ones, whether it's for public data release or for internal data management needs. So, what's the relationship of CKAN to Earth observation data? It turns out that the use cases around Earth observation data are very similar to the use cases that CKAN has been designed around. Like many types of public data, we want to have really good metadata management, We want powerful tools for exploration and discovery of data using that metadata. We want the ability to preview and download data sets. We want the ability to harvest data from external sources and to potentially enrich the metadata for given data sets that exist in the catalogue. We want the ability to apply taxonomies and other types of semantic information to data, APIs for application development, and importantly, especially with Earth observation data where data sets can be rather large, we want raw file access so that data can be offline processed. CKAN has a bunch of existing extensions that are suitable for Earth observation data. A lot of those are around a lot of that is around the ability to do spatial querying and geospatial harvesting. There are also extensions that support addition of vectors, ArcGIS map services and feature layers, and solutions such as DCAT, which is a vocabulary for semantic markup of data, which is also used with Earth observation data. There are several existing platforms that are running CKAN for Earth observation data. The NextGEOSS Data Hub, the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, NextGEOSS, of course. But then there are a range of other CKAN installations around the world that have Earth observation data in them with other types of data. So, why is CKAN a good choice for a data hub, given that it does all of these things on top of the fact that it meets these core use cases for data management? What else does CKAN have to offer? First of all, CKAN is open source software. There are no licensing fees for CKAN. There's no vendor lock-in. There's no, there are many options for support, as there are many commercial vendors around CKAN, but those support options range from support from developers within the community through to paid options with commercial vendors. And another important point is that CKAN has got decades and decades worth of people committing code to it or to extensions around it, solving data management problems. So many problems, if they don't already exist, a solution doesn't already exist in an existing extension or in the core, there are people who have experience with them and people in the community who can be talked to for best practices or advice on solutions to certain types of data management problems. CKAN has an open architecture. CKAN is deeply extensible. Almost every single part of CKAN can be customized to suit particular use cases or data workflows. And that also helps in integrating CKAN into existing systems. CKAN is also very easy to install and maintain on commodity hardware and common cloud providers. Perhaps most importantly of all, and as I slightly touched on on the open source point, CKAN has a large open community. Anyone can contribute code and ideas. There's community leadership by a range of experts who have extensive experience with data and technology around data management. And there's a large ecosystem of not only extensions, but also complementary libraries in the spaces of data science and data engineering and so on. So in summary, CKAN is an extensible metadata and data management platform with a large ecosystem of extensions and best practices, great support for use cases around Earth observation data, and a vibrant open source community led by open data experts. And these are reasons why CKAN is a great choice for an Earth observation data hub. And thank you, that's it from me, and I'm open for any questions either now or by email. You can find my contact details on this slide.
So my presentation today is about the functionalities and options that are available on the NextGEOSS Data Hub. We've used CKAN's ability to extend and enhance the basic CKAN functionality that come out of the box, and we've built this data hub. Today we'll go into details about the sections and functionalities that are available on the Data Hub. And on today's agenda, we have the homepage, collections page, two-step search, open search, dataset details, providers, and pilots. So let's start with the homepage. The Data Hub homepage lists all the available pages that I've mentioned on the agenda, and we'll go through them one by one during my presentation. It lists all the current number of available datasets on the portal. Just to mention here that this number will increase in time because we have harvesters in the background that are running and collecting data. The user here has two options. The first one is to start exploring the datasets, and by clicking on this button, the user is redirected to the dataset page where he can query and filter results through the filter and query the datasets that are available, or start exploring the Data Hub by the collections that are available there. By clicking on this button, the user is redirected to the collections page, which I will get into more detail later. The next part of the homepage lists all the available topics or pilots, as we call them, on NextGEOSS. And by clicking on a particular topic, the user is redirected to the topics detail page. And the View All Topics button redirects the user to a page where, again, we have a list of all available topics. Let's now start with the collections. We currently have 52 collections that are available on the Data Hub, and this page lists all of them. Each collection is represented with a collection name, collection description, the number of the data sets that we've collected that belong to that collection, and the pilot that is using the collection. By clicking on the collection name or go to collection, the user is redirected to the dataset page, but taking into consideration the collection that the user has chosen. So because I've mentioned the dataset page and the redirection, let's take a look at the dataset page a bit more detailed. So the dataset page offers the user a few different options to search or query the datasets. The first thing that the user sees is a map where the user can draw an area of interest. By drawing an area of interest on this map, the corresponding data sets will be shown in the area below below the map. We're selecting an option and applying, and then we're able to see that the number of data sets has changed, and these data sets are the one that are in the particular area that has been selected. Another option that the user has here is to enter a start and an end date. Let's say if the user is interested in a particular time range, he can enter those dates here and apply the filter. The user has the option to enter just the start date or just the end date, or define the time range. So if you take into consideration that on the previous slide I've shown that we selected an area, and then here we enter a start and an end date, then the next thing that will be shown is the data sets that belong to this particular area and to the particular time range, so between the start and the end date. All the filters are shown on the page, and by clicking on the X sign, the user can remove that filter. So if we decide to remove the end filter, then CKAN will only take into consideration the start time and the area that we've selected on the map, and display results accordingly. On the left side, we have a section that is called Refine Your Search. And this is something that allows the user to do a two-step search. On this section, we have a list of collections. So we can choose a collection and apply that filter on the one that we already have. The collection will appear there, and the number of data sets will change accordingly. Another interesting option that we've added on the Data Hub is this Open Search Matching Query button, which takes into consideration every filter that the user has applied here. So the collection name, time range, the area that has been selected. And by clicking on this button, the user is redirected to the Open Search page, which with all the applied filters. So if you don't want to go to Open Search, which is one of the options that the Data Hub offers, this is also listed on the Data Hub as the Open Search page. If you don't want to go into details and wonder, okay, I don't know the collection name or I'm not sure of this, then you can go to the front end and apply the filters that the user has in mind, and just click on this button and be redirected to the Open Search page with the corresponding results. Now let's see the dataset detail page. The dataset detail page shows the title of the dataset or the collection that it belongs to, and also the area where for the dataset. We have a list of data and resources that are available for that dataset, and additional info table, which lists all the metadata about the particular dataset. We also have integrated the community feedback. By clicking on the Add Feedback button, the user will be redirected to the community feedback, where the user can log in and leave a feedback on for the particular dataset. Then this feedback will be listed after the. I can go back a bit. So the feedback will be listed in the community feedback section on the page. Okay, so let's move on to the providers page. The providers page lists the main providers of observation data. Currently we have 7, but this number will also change in time because we're implementing we're implementing other harvesters for other providers. An interesting thing to mention here is that we have Plan for All, which is a European project. And by cataloging the data from an EU project, we want to reach out to a wider community. So this way we have like a wider wider variety of data that the user can explore. The providers page lists all the data sets that have been harvested for that particular provider, and also it lists the collections and topics, or as we call them, pilots, if the data sets from that provider are used by the topic. So as I mentioned before, on the homepage we have a list of all the pilots that we currently have. And by clicking on a specific topic, the user is redirected to the dataset detail page. Let's take a look at the pilot detail page. We have a description of the pilot, a metadata file which can be downloaded by the client, and we have 2 sections here: the metadata tab and the data collections tab. Let's take a look at the metadata tab. the first part of the metadata tab displays a map and the area of interest for the particular pilot. Sorry that the picture is a bit cut here. And then after that, we have resources that the user can download that are specific for that pilot, a list of images generated for that pilot, and an important thing to mention here is that this data is not entered in the data hub manually. We're doing this by collecting data from GeoNetwork, which is an online tool for generating metadata automatically. And what we do on the data hub is that we ingest this data from the GeoNetwork into the data hub. So when we have a new topic or a new pilot that has been integrated on GeoNetwork, the data hub will ingest the data and this collect all the images, all the metadata that the user has entered, and additional resources that are also present in the GeoNetwork. As I mentioned, we have the metadata file is hosted on GeoNetwork, but the data hub also provides an option to the user to download the metadata file. And you can see that the metadata file follows ISO 19139, and this is all available through the GeoNetwork. Another important part for the pilots is the data collections. So we've connected the collections with the pilots. So when a data set, when a pilot is using a particular collection for its needs, the collection is listed on the pilot's detail page. And by clicking on a collection, you'll be redirected to a dataset page that will list the datasets that are of interest for that pilot. And that's it for me. Thank you. And if you have questions, feel free to ask.
So with that, do we have any questions? Please use the opportunity to ask the people who are actually working on developing the NextGEOSS Data Hub and CKAN in particular. So this is a great opportunity for you to ask directly. Can you tell me, while we are waiting for the questions, can you tell me, Jovanka, how many, did you say that, I'm sorry, I might have missed it. Did you say how many pilots are already using the Data Hub?
We have 3 internal and 1 external pilot that have already been, that have done their, like they filled in the information on the GeoNetwork, and we've been able to ingest that data, and that's biodiversity, security, energy, and coastal.
Right. So it could be, so those who are then now thinking of using this opportunity of integrating their pilot, they can know that we do have a community that has already experience with this and can in principle support them with when they are entering the different stages of integrating a pilot. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. We already have templates on GeoNetwork which provide all the details about the metadata that should be entered, etc.
Excellent. Yes. So I don't see any other questions for you, any of you. Don't be shy, folks. There's plenty of room to ask questions. Or maybe everything was so clear that there is no need for it. Let's go for that. So if I don't hear anything, I'll start with my announcement. There we have a whole series of activities going on, a whole series of news that we want to share with you in connection with this public release of the NextGEOSS Data Hub and platform. So now you were introduced to the Data Hub, and you have learned that we have different services that will where you can benefit not only the Data Hub but also the platform. And I would then encourage you to go to visit our website about, rather immediately after this webinar is ended. You will be seeing the revamped NextGEOSS website, where you can, in peace and quiet, explore the different services that we provide. So we have a whole new series of the services also on our platform. So now you learned about the Data Hub, but we also have a launch of the platform services. During the next few days, so today you will actually be able to see a description of the new release, the different components of it on the website. We will have a lot of various activities from now on and 1.5 weeks time. One of the things that we want to tell you about right now is that we will have a live event next is Thursday, I think, the 7th of February, in the early morning, and we will, of course, share more information about that in the social media and on our website. But now, since you are here at this first public launch, you will know it already. And in that live event, we will go through in more detail explaining more the different services, the platform services. So you will be able to learn more about that. That will be a live event and not so much into, you won't be able to see slides and the presentations that you enjoyed right now, but you will get some guidance in addition to be able to explore it on the internet. Let me see if I have more news. I think those are the main points. So stay tuned for us. Follow us on, especially on Twitter. At the handle is NextGEOSS, so it's easy to find, because that's where we will announce the different new activities that we are engaging in. So I think that's it for me. I have actually, if you stay on, I will share with you the summary. We have a leaflet summarizing this platform services. While I'm doing that, maybe you, Paul, if you have some additional information, some comments based on what you just learned. I'm sure you haven't been able to really appreciate all the details earlier about the NextGEOSS Data Hub, since you are quite new as a CEO of Viderum. So, and Jovanka. So, but I give the floor to you first, Paul, while I'm uploading the leaflet.
Sure. So no particular comments. I mean, Jovanka's done amazing work getting us to a version 1 here, and I really want to applaud and congratulate her on that great work. And just for anyone who's listening, who's on the call now, if you have any questions that we can answer about NextGEOSS Data Hub or about CKAN in general, please do let us know. We're here to answer for the next minutes.
So I think I will send, you are all registered, so I will send you the documentation directly in your email box, and you will be able to find it also on our webpage. There will be several blog posts with more descriptions very soon, and already today, by the way. So with that, I think I bid you all goodbye. I don't see any more questions. I just the result of I did a small discrete poll in our audience. I asked if they used CKAN or not, and it seems that half of half of the audience use CKAN and half doesn't. So and we love numbers, right? So, okay, thank you so much. Thank you to the speakers. Thank you for following us here, attending this webinar. The next webinar in the NextGEOSS webinar series will be on the 27th of February. And we will actually go deeper into some of the pilots, a couple of pilots, and see how they have been using the Data Hub and the NextGEOSS platform services. So stay tuned. Mark your calendar for the 27th of February, and you will enjoy the next webinar of the NextGEOSS webinar series. With that, I think I will go and have some champagne by myself to celebrate the launch of the NextGEOSS Data Hub. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.